Weekend.
Good. How was yours?
Very good, very good. I have to say it's a very happy weekend. It's a very happy Independence Day.
Yes,
People
it's a
just
very good
yeah,
Independence Day.
yeah. Do you see
Yes, except for the tragedy in Texas.
I
It was a
know,
tremendous weekend.
I know. That's yeah, totally a tragedy. And they're still looking for people that missing.
Right.
So yeah, okay, let's start. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cheyenne's Forum. Today is July 8th, and here is our dear friend Tom. Tom, how are you?
I'm fine. Good to see you.
Good to see you, and thank you so much. Before we start our program today, which is really a good one, a wonderful one, because we have so many questions on to discuss with Tom. Tom worked in FBI for 30 years and he worked as assistant director of FBI for 5 years and he's retired now. And again, thank you so much for coming to our podcast, Tom.
My
Every
pleasure.
yeah. So Tom, we have a very good weekend for the July Independence Day and also our pray to the Texas victims, which yeah, they suffer so many, and we just cannot imagine. So, yeah, our prayer goes to them. And we have actually two big questions for you today. First one is about Epstein file. The second one is about Elon Musk for the American Party. So which one you want to go first? The Epstein file or the Elon Musk American
Yeah,
Party?
let's talk Epstein.
All right, okay, Epstein. So okay, right now the situation is Penn Bundy just said very clear that we do not have the name list, the client list of Epstein Island. And also Epstein is commit suicide. And for the first part that is controversial to what she said before. And she clearly said at least February 25th, and she said, yes, I do have the file. It's on my desk for my review. And then right now she said, I'm talking about the file of JF Kennedy and the other cases. It's obviously not the same thing. So at least from my point of view, and I believe it's from the other lots of other people's point of view. So what's going on here? And also about the reaction from President Trump. Did you see the clip that
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, so
Well,
what's
well,
going on?
first of all, talking about Bondi, I think that she received a lot of criticism early in her
Right.
tenure for talking too much, for doing too many interviews and not having enough real facts to display. And I think that I would agree with that.
Mhm.
In talking about the files are on my desk. Well, if you had those kind of files, it would stack up 100 feet high. You wouldn't be able to put them on your desk. So, and then her latest, answer to that today during her meeting with Trump, the cabinet meeting,
Mhm.
was that, well, it was also the Kennedy files, Bobby Kennedy and other files. And well, it goes back to what I said. How many files did you have on that desk? And if you knew how important, if they could fit on your desk, you should have been reviewing them or having your people review them
Mhm.
to help you out. There was knowing that there was so much interest, so much public desire to know the facts and keep the promises that you made during the campaign and you made, after even being selected as Attorney General. Um, to me, I just think it was very unprofessional on her part early on to talk as much as she talked about all of the files, the Kennedy, the Epstein, the RFK files,
Mhm.
and then to have the statement come out today from DOJ, and then have that be amplified, by the way, by, for how long Bongino and Cash Patel talked about the cover up and everything that went on with Epstein and all of that.
Mhm.
And now suddenly they're both saying, oh, no, no suicide, no problem, no, none of that.
Yeah.
And you look at it and it defies explanation to me or logic because
Mhm.
I think that they personally led up to so much expectation of what would be found,
Hmm.
and that they would be the ones to release it when they got into office.
Right.
And all of a sudden, and I mean all of a sudden, go from that to, oh, nothing to see here, no suicide,
Right.
no anything.
Right.
And then the explanation that the missing 1 minute and 2 seconds
Right.
on the security camera video
Hmm.
that happened from 11:58 p.m. to midnight, oh, that happens every night. Well,
Yep.
really? That sounds ridiculous.
Hmm.
That sounds ridiculous. And then, looking at some of the other podcasts and reports about it,
Hmm.
it also makes me wonder because, watching today's broadcast of Next News Network with Gary Franchi, he
Hmm.
points to the video and shows that the video that's ending at 11:58 has, at the bottom of it has fast forward, has different uh,
Oh,
selections, different
okay.
from when the midnight video starts. It starts clean. There is no editing
Oh, I see.
menu, let's say, at the bottom of that video. So that's very suspicious.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, and the fact that they could edit it the way they edit it,
Hmm.
that could be a lot more missing from that video than
Right.
we know.
Right. Right.
And, to put that out, then hire some independent experts to do a study on this and
Hmm.
find out if that's true, if that was tampered with or not, or
Hmm.
deliberate or not.
Hmm.
Now, the other side of it that's confusing to me is that, they stated today and yesterday and for the last couple of days that there was no evidence that
Hmm.
they had. And in fact, the video shows he did not commit suicide.
Right.
No evidence that he committed suicide.
Hmm.
Well, no, there's no evidence of anything, whether he did or he didn't. You don't have a picture of him in the
Yeah.
cell.
Right.
You don't see him
Right.
lying in his cell at midnight trying to go to sleep and everything's fine.
Right.
Or you don't see him hanging, or you don't see
Right.
him on video hanging himself in the
Right. Good
cell. So you
point. Good
don't see
point.
that.
Yep.
Uh, so that's another question of that. So I think that, to me, having, these kind of stories come out and the way this is coming out, and it's a
Hmm.
disappointment to me because I had great faith in Cash Patel that
Hmm.
he would be honest. I don't know Pam Bondi. I don't know, what she would do, but Cash Patel, I thought he's going to be an honest broker with the
Hmm.
information.
Hmm.
Bongino, he was also talking mightily, before all of this, that he committed suicide, or I mean that he was probably murdered, and now all of a sudden he changes his story. So I just think that it has, you've heard the expression before, it has all the earmarks of, being tampered with or a lie or a cover up. Well, to me, it does. It does just that. It has the earmarks of being covered up, the
Hmm.
truth being covered up. And I think that, and you have ample motivation for the cover up, like
Hmm.
you did in the Kennedy assassination with the Warren report.
Hmm.
Because the Kennedy assassination had so much implications of not just the American mafia, but the CIA specifically, and then the
Hmm.
military also. And in this particular case, all of the information surrounding Epstein and his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, whose father was Mossad,
Hmm.
Israeli agent, um, all of the indications that had been going out for a couple of years was that Epstein was working on behalf of the CIA and Israeli intelligence to blackmail these people, lure them into going to the island, riding on the jet, being with young girls, providing them with young women. Um, the statement from one of the victims that, talking about Bill Clinton, he
Hmm.
liked them young.
Hmm.
Well, okay, so you have all of the indications are that Epstein was setting these people up.
Hmm.
In intelligence, it's called a honeypot.
Hmm.
You lure somebody with a very attractive woman, or a
Mhm.
very attractive man if the person's gay.
Mhm.
But in this case, let's say women or girls,
Mhm.
and you lure the person into temptation, into doing something with them. And
Mhm.
that's why Epstein was filming them. There's supposed to be hundreds of videos of these people engaging in that type of sexual activity with young girls.
Mhm.
So why would you collect that? Why would Epstein need any of that? That
Mhm.
would be unless he was an agent operating for the Mossad and
Right.
on behalf of CIA and all of that.
Mhm.
Now, the wonder is why would Trump even say now, okay, there was
Yeah.
suicide. There's no
Yeah.
indication, no evidence, no
Yeah.
anything
That.
backing up the story if
Yeah.
maybe he's trying to protect the CIA, the
Mhm.
way for all these years since the Kennedy assassination, all of the effort of the CIA, the deep state, producing author after author, making up stuff that Oswald was the lone shooter and ignoring all of the other evidence that showed CIA complicity in it. And now you may have the same thing. This what Epstein was doing, has all the appearances of an intelligence operation, blackmail all these people that you videoed having illicit sex with young girls. And then now, you can keep whatever policies you want. And if you're Israel, you're going to keep the US Congress and the US government in your corner to back you no matter what you do, which is what's been happening for many, many years. And if you're Trump, then the other thing is that if Israel was doing all this, it probably took the cooperation of the CIA to do it, to
Mhm.
set these things up and be involved in it. And therefore, the reputation of the CIA is at stake. So if the evidence comes out that Epstein was in fact blackmailing these people, and as a result of it, that when he's in jail, they look at it as we've got to silence this guy the way
Mhm.
Oswald had to be silenced. You
Right.
can't have somebody that's going to tell the truth later
Mhm.
and talk about what happened, and because it's going to be very dangerous, not just for the Mossad, but specifically the CIA as well.
So basically, you're talking about this is a deal between Trump administration and then CIA. Some deep state? Is that what you want
I
to do?
think, well, I'm just saying I'm suspicious of the whole thing because it has all the earmarks of an
Right.
intelligence operation from the beginning, the
Right.
so-called honeypot type
Right.
operation, which
Right.
has been intelligence services have used that, for centuries
Mhm.
to, lure an official into sex with a beautiful woman who may be a spy or, an intelligence officer herself,
Mhm.
and, go from there. So I think that's why I'm very suspicious of it. And Trump at this point, I
Mhm.
don't know. Does he try? Have they fooled him into protecting the CIA, into
Mhm.
yeah, going along with this whole story? That
Mhm.
because to me, when the reporter asked the question today during the cabinet meeting, and Trump jumped all over that reporter, to me he was overreacting. That seemed like an overreaction to a simple question that's in the news.
I actually totally agree with you. When I saw Trump just jump out and then say something, I was pretty surprised
Yeah.
because this question is to Bundy. She should be the one who answered the question. And when President Trump jump out and say something, it's clearly that he does not want people to pay attention on this case, which they
Right.
promised to, yeah, to give out the name list, and they actually speak about the name list again and again and again, just like you
I was going to
mentioned.
say, you're right. The whole issue of the name list came out over
Right,
and over by the administration,
right,
Bondi herself,
right,
and others in the administration. So, and Patel and Bongino contributed to that. Was we're going to be
right.
transparent. We're going to get to the bottom of this and all of that. And then
Right.
all of a sudden, almost overnight, no,
Yeah.
suicide.
So there are two scenarios. One is they already decide to not just release the name list if that's the case, oh, when they're talking to people that we will release, this is a joke. It's a lie, right? Or,
Right. And that's, and they can say, well, maybe there's no actual list, like a list of everybody that went to the island or flew on the plane with Epstein,
Mhm.
but then release the files where the information is contained of who
Right,
went and who was there,
right,
and all of that. And you don't have that. So I
right,
think that to me, it's all of a sudden, they turn their policy overnight. One
exactly.
minute we're going to be the most transparent administration. We're going to everything, and we're going to release the list or at least the files that you could make a list from.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, no, nothing to see here. He committed suicide.
Right. And also the other question is, if this is a deal to protect CIA or Mossad or someone else,
Or the whole arrangement, the whole operation. Yeah.
the whole, so who is the benefit from it? CIA? Israel?
CIA benefits from it because you don't have this scandal come out of what they did in
Hmm.
working with Mossad.
Hmm.
Mossad benefits from it, like they always do. All the operations they've done in this country, all
Right.
the spying they've done against us, they get to protect themselves one more time.
Hmm.
And that could be and then here's who really benefits from it in the short run: everybody that would either be on that list or in the files.
Hmm.
All of the guys that were on that plane that went to the island and that could be identified by these victims as people that they were forced to have sex with on the island
Hmm. So then we
when they were
have
young, when they were underage at that
exactly.
time.
So then next question is there are clearly we have victims in this case. So is the justice for these victims out of reach?
Could be, could be. Because, the identity of the victims would come out. If they came out now and identified subjects from photo lineups or from the videos, they got all these videotapes,
Mm-hmm.
and you could have these girls, you could just show them the tapes. Who's this guy?
Right.
Is he British royalty? Is he a high-level politician in the United States or former prime minister, former president, or former prime minister of Israel?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you have accusations that include all of the above. So to
I
me, to me,
mm-hmm.
it would be very easy to debunk those issues if they wanted to, or they maybe feel they can't debunk them, and it would be a bigger scandal if they try to.
Mm, I see. I see. It seems like these bad guys, big name bad guys, has been covered. Is
Yeah.
that
Now, here's another outlandish theory that I have, that is that you've got all these thousands of hours of videotape
right?
that is now in the possession of the U.S. government, taken out of the apartment or taken off the island or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
And so now our government is in a position
Yep.
to blackmail all these people.
Yep.
So instead of them being blackmailed, elsewhere, we
Mm-hmm.
can do it.
Yep.
So if
Yep.
Trump has that kind of access, let's say, to that information and to those videos, to that evidence, that gives him all the power in the world to
Exactly.
get these people to do what he wants,
Uh-huh.
enact the policies and the bills that he wants enacted,
Mm-hmm.
and could change everything. And
Mm-hmm.
this time, Trump is the big boss.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. Actually, yesterday I wrote something about the situation, and my guess is this is a deal, and right now Trump is in the best position.
Yeah.
He can actually blackmail these people and have these people follow his order to do what he wants to do, which is to make America great again. So these people have to follow him because he has something that they're fair to release to the public. But the negative side is lots of, I believe, MAGA people were very, very disappointed on the outcome. So maybe for next year, for 2026, we're gonna lose some votes because
I
of
don't
that.
know. I think that No, because I think that in the long run, they can have all this information come out that it was for the good of the country, for the good
Right,
of MAGA. So
right,
I think, MAGA could still benefit from this, even though in the short run now everybody's
right,
disappointed. It's
right,
being covered up. We don't
right,
know who did what, blah, blah, blah.
right,
But administration knows who did what. They have the videos.
right,
So they have each bad guy, each
right.
pedophile, they
Mm-hmm,
have the evidence. They have the recordings. They have all
mm-hmm,
the information.
mm-hmm,
So you would think that would give them tremendous leverage
mm-hmm,
over the members of Congress or senators, others that may have participated in this kind of thing,
mm-hmm.
and would give them a tremendous amount of power. It's
Right.
like one of the things that surprised me over the weekend and over the last couple of weeks is remember when we were hearing a couple of weeks ago, oh, that big, beautiful bill, they'll be lucky if they can get that passed by July
Right.
19th or August 1st, or
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
never going to be able to get that by the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, boom, it goes through.
Exactly.
All
Exactly.
of a sudden, it's passed and Trump can sign it on the 4th of July. So to me, I was thinking at the time, and I guess, my career in law enforcement has made me so cynical because I look at these kind of things and I go, okay, what
Uh,
did they have over those congressmen and
right.
those senators to straighten them out, to
Mm-hmm.
do what they wanted them to do,
Mm-hmm.
and not complain about one thing or another in the
Right.
bill, or I
Right.
don't like this, or it's going to increase the debt, or any of that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. So to me, at that time, I thought Trump's got leverage over them and he's using it.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Now, could the leverage be that a lot of these people that might have been involved in some of the things with Epstein
Right.
uh, would know that Trump has access to the evidence
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
he's sitting on the evidence. So,
Yeah, this is a beautiful leverage. We have to say that because it will help in long run. I totally agree with you. Will help MAGA. So we have a
in the
bigger.
long run, when they get to, realize what was going on, and those type of things come out in the long run as well. So right now,
Mhm,
in the short run, they wanted the list and everybody, look at these guys.
mhm,
And in the long run, if Trump is putting the list or at least the information from the files to better use
mhm.
for the good of the administration, the good
Uh,
of the country, the good
Right,
of getting his agenda passed,
right,
when that comes out and people come to realize that more, there may be less criticism
right,
of
right. Just like Trump said to Maria at Fox, he said, "This is a dirty word. This is how the world run."
yeah.
So he pretty much know the game, and I think he know how to play the game with these dirty people.
That's part of his art of the deal.
Yeah.
You want to deal with these people, you can use persuasion and logic and patriotism, or you can just blackmail. Do it, or else I'll get you.
Uh-huh. Very simple way.
Yeah.
Very simple way. So yeah, the way that Pembandi and Cash Patel handle this case, it's not quite good. I agree with you because if you know that it's a possibility, we're going to use that as a leverage. And why they just come out and then repeatedly said, yes, we're going to release them. There are possibilities that you will use that for leverage.
I
And
think in the beginning, it might be that they had no idea that that was going to be the purpose of these files in the long run, was to use for leverage, to have it,
okay.
the sword of Damocles hanging over the head of these members of Congress and Senate and other
Mhm.
foreign leaders and others that participated in this stuff. And I think that, I mentioned the term honeypot,
Right.
and in intelligence, where you had beautiful female spies lure male
Mhm.
spies into a relationship,
Mhm.
uh, like the Chinese woman that was with Smallwell in
Right.
California,
Fun,
good
fun,
example.
fun, right?
Yeah. Um, that's a common practice, but they're normally adult women. So even though what they're doing is a form of prostitution, they're still adults. It's
Mhm.
not, young women. It's not teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
underage women being used by the government on purpose to
So,
get blackmail information. Otherwise, it wouldn't be blackmail.
mm-hmm.
Look at Smallwell. He hasn't the fact that it came out that he was sleeping with a Chinese spy, so what?
Mm-hmm.
But if she had been 15 years old, that would be so what? That would be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why in this case it matters what actually occurred, who the girls were, who the men were, what they did, where they did it,
Mm-hmm.
and that they have physical Epstein saw to it that they have hundreds and hundreds of videos showing it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, yeah, this is my question is, do you have any experience when you're working FBI? Um, for some reason, the case is cannot be go public, but indeed, you guys still prosecute
Well,
people.
during my career in the Bureau,
Hmm.
uh, one of the main areas of crime that I investigated was organized crime.
Right,
And in all of the cases that I participated in, managed, oversaw, directed, in all of those cases, we were expecting to prosecute the bad guys.
right.
So we didn't want to be caught cheating, lying, stealing, to set them up. We wanted the evidence to be clear of what they did and how they did it and all of that. So the honeypot technique was a technique used in espionage. It was not used in criminal investigation.
Mm-mm.
So, later when I became a senior executive, then I had to learn about espionage and how those techniques are used in espionage cases. I didn't have to in my earlier career. I was just investigating criminal investigations or
Mm-hmm.
doing tactical SWAT operations, things like that. But later, as a senior executive, my last 11 years in the Bureau, then I had to learn and be trained in how those techniques are used by the CIA, by other foreign intel services, and
Mm-hmm.
by our own people that worked in that arena. And so I didn't participate or directly manage a case where we used a honeypot, but I was
Mm-hmm.
well aware of how it was used and who
Sure.
did it, how they did it.
Sure, sure. So yeah, my question is that one possibility is even though the Epstein client list is not released, go public, but people who commit crime will still be prosecuted secretly.
Well, if they get prosecuted, it has to be public. So
Oh,
in our system, so you go to court, that would be
okay.
open and it would be a public situation.
So
Now,
people
they could use that again to blackmail the people involved. Now, our government could now use it instead of the Israeli government,
mhm,
or both. And so I think that, there's a possibilities like that would occur.
mhm. Wow. So it seems like Netanyahu just came to White House yesterday. And the same
Yeah.
day, yeah, the same day
And I
said,
saw a report of why has he come to the White House something like 3 times in the last couple of months?
yeah,
And just coincidentally yesterday, as well.
right,
So,
right.
uh,
Okay, let me ask you a very broad question. Maybe um it's out of blue. This question is, do we really need Israel as a friend, as an ally? Do we really need them, or they really need us? What's the really relationship between U.S. and Israel?
well, if you look at Israel, their economy is, I think, smaller than Singapore or,
Hmm.
Argentina. It's a very, how powerful are they?
Hmm.
And politically, we look at them like, well, they're our only friend in an area where everybody hates it, in the Middle East. Well, maybe, but part of that hate is Israel has caused it, has caused their neighbors to distrust them and dislike them. And yeah, you have the religious difference between Muslims and Jews
Hmm.
and all of that. But what's gotten Israel into trouble hasn't really been the Jewish aspect of Israel, but the Zionist, which is more of the political movement of Israeli leaders.
Hmm.
And they're the ones that have, caused a lot of their problems, a lot of the dislike against them.
Hmm.
So I think that, I don't know. My personal opinion is that we don't really need them, but that's my personal opinion. Now, as
Right.
a matter of U.S. government policy, that's a different story. If they
Hmm.
think that Israel's in a position to help, but if you look at it, Israel has gotten, to me, more help from us than we have gotten from them.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for, yeah, for be honest on this question because I believe this is actually a very critical question regarding the relationship between these two nations. And more and more people can see that we have a lots of thing, things to do with Israel, good things and bad things.
Right.
So yeah. All right. So the other question today is about Elon Musk. He just announced that he can have the American Party, which gonna lead American people on the true freedom. So what do you think about that? Do you surprise he's doing that, or what do you think about the future of the third party, American Party?
Well, first, I think the third party has no future. That's
Okay,
number one.
it's clear, huh?
None of the third parties that have come up, sometimes they can act as a spoiler in an election and take some votes away from somebody. And we've seen people like Ross Perot and some of the others that
Right.
made a dent into the party that was in charge or the party that was going to get the most votes. But as far as this party, I don't I don't see it. And I think Elon will probably get to see it before too long. But
Okay.
why he started such a public feud with Trump,
Mhm.
I have no idea. I don't know if he's insane, goofy, whatever it is. But when he started his attacks on Trump and on the big beautiful bill, I thought that's ridiculous. If he wanted to attack the big beautiful bill, he could get a lot of congressional support
Mhm.
later to put in or take out certain aspects of the bill,
Mhm.
certain things that are included in it. But
Mhm.
to trash the whole bill, knowing and then trash Trump because he knew this is Trump's signature
Right.
legislation of the administration.
Right.
And the things that are in that bill are things that he's talked about, Trump has talked about way back even before the most recent campaign, that
Mhm.
these are the things he's going to have implemented. And the only difference in the beginning, in the early part of the campaign, members of Congress were saying, uh, well, make several different bills, put it in, and
Yeah,
later Trump thought,
a
no,
separate
one
bill.
big, beautiful bill, make it, one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, uh, and he's pulled it off.
Hmm. So you don't think they have a future for the American Party. So that means it won't hurt either Democrat or Republic. So it's not a big deal.
I
Is that
think.
okay?
I
All
think.
right. Okay. Yeah, because they
Only
are.
because in the past,
Mhm.
third parties have never been a big deal to actually do serious damage. And I think right now, um, the other thing I looked at was maybe Trump is he's taken such a beating from being an ally of Trump and,
Mhm.
bombing Tesla dealers and destroying Tesla cars and doing some of the things that they're doing like that, that
Mhm.
maybe he did this as a stunt to show distance between him and Trump
Oh,
so they would leave his businesses alone. I
oh,
don't know. I don't
okay.
know.
Good for his business, huh?
And yeah, and I also thought, a possibility that Trump and Elon are faking it,
Uh,
faking this big feud
uh-huh.
for attention or whatever. And neither one of them is all that serious or
Hmm.
actually hates each other or any of that.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Well, so that's very interesting point is there are no third party grow big in U.S. history. So can you tell me why? Some
I
people
think
say,
because in
uh,
politics, it starts grassroots. You
right.
have in the local community, from dog catcher to mayor to senators and congressmen, that they need to be part of an organization that has credibility to raise money.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they say, I'm going to start my own party and I believe in this and I believe in that, um, I think that they can't get the financial backing that they would need to
Mm-hmm.
actually sustain a third party.
Mm-hmm. But for Elon, financial is not a problem. He has money and he has the platform, which is X, and the popularity is not a question. So he has money, he has a popularity.
Yeah, it depends on how he could use the money or what his financial people. He has all those things, but what happens if he uses it strictly for politics of this third party? I don't know. I don't know if legally,
Mm-hmm.
tax, all the other implications,
Right.
his efforts to go to Mars, moon first and then Mars, or if you look at some of the YouTube postings that Musk has done in the last few months, and I've looked at them very closely. He has a new smartwatch coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It's smart enough that it can also track your blood sugar and all of that,
Right.
while you're wearing it.
Right. Right.
Then he's got the new iPad that just came out that's
Mm-hmm.
like $400 or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big, starting a big, group of people supporting that. Then he's talked about a new engine. He himself has said electric cars are doomed, that his
Really?
people are developing a new engine that'll be different than make electricity differently and not be
Oh,
powered like the electric cars are now.
that's
So
a big thing.
yeah, and so when you see that, there's a number of things he's talked about. Wait till August. Wait till toward the end of August. This is coming out. Cars, watches, iPads, technology.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
the phone, by the way, is a new
Yeah.
phone.
Uh-huh.
That phone is also, if you buy the more expensive model, and the cheaper models are like $400 or $500. But
Uh-huh.
if you ended up buying the more expensive phone,
Mm-hmm.
you can call all over the world. It goes off the satellites. It
Mm-hmm.
uses his Starlink system to call everywhere. So you could be in the middle of a desert, in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of Africa, and make a phone call and send email and receive text messages and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So, what will that do to AT&T and the other companies and their stream of income? If
Right.
you've got him doing that,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of have that now with Starlink.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he's going to incorporate Starlink into the phones.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at the several technological proposals that he's got coming out within the next few months,
Mm-hmm.
and they're incredible.
Yeah.
So I think in the long run, he may give up on his own party and think, what am I
Uh,
going to, I don't need that.
He has to focus either on the business development or the politics life. So I agree with you. And the people just saying that, is that scared to see someone who has such a superpower? He almost got everything, and he probably turned to a monster. Who knows? So people are thinking about this way. Who knows if he mastered every single aspect of our life? Think about that. It's a much he has much power than any government in the world. So this
Yeah.
is maybe something we need to think about that. So your opinion very clear is that the third party has no room, has no future in American history, even though you have money and you have popularity, it still maybe go nowhere.
Yeah. And we still don't know what, his real motive and what he would use this party for. He's talked about some of the politicians that when it comes up in a primary season, he's going to primary them. He's going
Right.
to have another candidate,
Mm-hmm.
give them big money to run against that person and have them lose, have them get out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think I have a wait and see attitude excuse me, when it comes to Elon Musk. I think that
Sure.
we just don't. He is, the expression that he's playing 4D chess and he's so far ahead of everybody and
Mm-hmm.
nobody could keep up with him
Right.
intellectually. And that could be the case. He could be just outsmarting everybody in the short
Right.
run,
Right.
creating a third party that he knows is not going to be successful, but has some other
Yep.
motivation for creating it.
Right.
He,
Right.
he will
Right.
get something out of that party that, we
Yep.
don't see.
Yeah, I
We
agree.
may see it, but we don't see it.
Yeah. Okay, so we can give him about 3 or 4 months to see what's going on there. Is
I
that?
hope, because many of the announcements that I've seen, he has several YouTube channels where he makes these announcements.
Uh-huh.
So if you watch that, you see the announcements on the watch, the iPad, the new car engine that he's talking about coming out with. There's some things that are pretty phenomenal, and he's talking about like maybe in August that we'll see these things pretty soon.
Okay, so we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a good topic. It's a big issues, both of them. And for the Epstein, yeah, I'm glad that you point out some very, very important points. And yes, I will do the Chinese version as soon as possible for
Okay.
today's podcast. And so many people are just like, what's going on there? We lost. We just had a very good weekend and a big, beautiful bill just passed. Yeah, it's a mountain that we already covered the mountain, which is good. And then all of a sudden, the Epstein case come out. It's like a huge disappointed. So it's just like
Yeah.
roller coaster. Well, okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
think all of these stories like that, there's more to come. We'll learn more in the days ahead and weeks ahead. And
sure. But it's just so wonderful. Yeah.
yeah,
Right. Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you.
my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll see you next Tuesday then.
See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.